Hey everybody, I'm JB the Ranch Mechanic. This is Fast Tip Friday. Today we're just going to be talking about a simple way and a cheap way to keep dust buildup off of the plastic surfaces, namely the windscreen, headlights, and taillights on your ATV, UTV, side-by-side, whatever you're driving off-road. This is not my idea by any means, but I did come across this on a UTV forum online. I don't remember which one. A couple weeks back when I was Googling how to solve this problem, being that I live in the desert out here, it's a big deal. I was having issues with dust just basically clinging to my windshield. And after a while, after a couple of days of driving around out here, it would get so bad that I would physically have to wipe off the inside and the outside of my windscreen, or I couldn't see. I mean, even going down the road 40, 50, 60 miles an hour in this thing, I still couldn't see. It was bad. So let me flip the camera around and I'll show you what we're using here. You might already have it in your garage or wherever you keep your car cleaning products. I happen to have a really old bottle of this stuff that I got maybe 6 years ago, back when I actually, before we moved out here, back when I actually cared about keeping my black Tahoe clean, which is a exercise in futility at this point out here. But let me flip the camera around here. I'll show you what we're talking about. So what I got here is a bottle of Meguiar's Mirror Glaze. This is number 34 final inspection. This stuff is fantastic. I actually sprayed it all over. I washed this thing this morning. We got our pivots turned back on for the season, and going out and checking them every day, it gets really, really muddy. Let me zoom out a little bit here. But as you can see, I applied this mirror glaze to the inside and outside of this two-piece folding windscreen. This is the Honda OEM windscreen. And I did that last week, and then I reapplied it earlier this morning, and then I was driving around, doing my thing all day today. And there is something there. That's plastic. I know it looks like it's completely clean, other than the little streak marks that, I got lazy and didn't buff out completely. But I've been driving around in this thing all day. I mean, this was completely clean this morning, and as you can see, there's dirt all over the place on the floor. The seats are covered and dirty. So, I mean, there's dust all over the inside of this thing, but as you can see, the windscreen is completely clean. The bigger thing for me is actually the dash, and you can see quite a bit of dust on the dash, but that is really, there's no way to avoid that. But it would get so thick before I applied this mirror glaze to it that I literally, if the sun hit that, if it wasn't in the shade, I could not read it. I had no idea how fast I was going, what my fuel gauge was like, it was pretty bad. So even though there is some dust and stuff on here, the mirror glaze has really helped knock down the amount that is allowed to build up on there. It's not a cure-all, obviously, but if you could see some of the stuff that I drive through out here, I went over to the Middle East, with the Air Force in 2005. I was deployed over in Qatar. Then we stopped in Saudi Arabia and Iraq. But the sand over there, especially near the Gulf, is like talcum powder. It is really, really fine silt. And I did not think that existed here in the States. I thought that was something exclusive to the Middle East. I was wrong. It is everywhere out here. And especially down by some of our, southern pivots, where a lot of equipment traffic goes through on the inside of our gates and fences and stuff. It just pulverizes the ground, and we get this very, very fine, almost talcum powder-like sand. And that's what this stuff is. You can see it's very fine. And there's really no way to avoid that sticking, especially now because this is not a brand new machine. And, it would get to the point where I would have to physically, either reach down with a glove or my hand and wipe this thing off just so I could see how fast I was going, or, my maintenance info, things like that. So, unfortunately, some, very fine scratches have been put into this surface. And once those are there, it's almost impossible to keep stuff from sticking to it. It's attracted to those scratch marks. It just kind of gets down in there and sticks. But this mirror glaze has really helped, and as you can see on the windscreen, I mean, it's spotless still after driving around all day in this really fine dust. I'm going to roll in a clip here real quick I tried to make this video actually last week, but I've been so busy, guys. I apologize I didn't put out a fast tip last week. I did a lot of 14-hour days for me. We've been reseeding about 600 acres worth of pivots. And that's some very, very long days in a tractor. I'm not a farmer, but we're down 2 employees right now, so I kind of have to be. I'm kind of busting out the excuse alert here, but that's the reason why I didn't put out a fast tip last week. Just been really busy, but I'm going to roll in a clip of me that I tried to make last week, But there was a storm rolling through, and most of the footage was completely unusable. There was so much wind noise, I would either have to do a voiceover or whatever. But I did a comparison between a taillight that was coated with this mirror glaze and uncoated with the mirror glaze. And you can very clearly see the difference once I got some dust on it, how much cleaner the taillights are after you put the mirror glaze on. So I'm going to roll that clip in real quick and I'll show you the comparison. All right, folks, so this is typically one of the dustiest places on the ranch just because we have so much equipment that drives on this little service road. And this doesn't get any water. Right there gets water, that's one of our pivots, so that's irrigated, but right here it's very dry. But of course, we have a storm blowing through right now, so all of the dust is just blowing away. But still, you can get an idea how dusty it is though. Looks like it's blowing this way, so I'll see if I can just kind of get into a cloud and stay there. There's some dust. Okay. Well, let's see what we got. It's all over my phone. All right, here's a great example. That's the driver's side taillight that we coated. Look at the passenger side. That's a pretty marked difference. That's the side that we coated. That's the side that we did not coat. We just wiped it clean. So the proof is in the pudding right there, guys. Anyway, that's the fast tip for this week. If you have plastic accessories that you want to keep dust off of, this number 34 mirror glaze final inspection by Meguiar's is relatively inexpensive. I think I got this at O'Reilly's for under 10 bucks. So that was some years back. You can get it on Amazon. I looked into getting a new bottle of it just because I didn't know if this was any good. It's fine. It's a little old, but it's fine. But on Amazon, the only vendor I could find that actually sold it, it was $14 a bottle, and there was a minimum quantity requirement of 2. So you'd have to spend 30 bucks just to get some mirror glaze, and that's just, I wasn't about to spend that much money on something that I didn't know would work or not. I mean, as it turns out, it works great, but I didn't know for sure, so I ended up lucking out and finding this stuff left over in my garage. But anyway, that's the fast tip for today, guys. I hope that helps you out. It's really bad out here in the desert. I don't know where it's, what it's like where you're at. Even for a non-dusty environment, it really helps with rain beating up and rolling off your plastic windshields. It really helps with, mud sticking and stuff. I mean, I had mud all over this thing that I, got out of here earlier when I sprayed it off. And all of it just flew right off the windscreen. I didn't even have to really worry about it. So there's a couple of layers on the windscreen now, and it seems to be really making an improvement. So I would definitely recommend you give that a try. There are probably a lot of other quick wax type products that would do a similar thing, but I just happen to have the mirror glaze, and that's what the online community recommended on that forum that I was on. So I decided to give it a shot, and I've been pretty impressed. So anyway, guys, that's all I got for you today. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate all my new subscribers. I think I'm up to 760 last time I checked. I would have put out a community post, but I don't have access to the community post functions or the community tab, I guess, until I reach 1,000 subscribers, which I think is kind of stupid. Thanks, YouTube. But what can you do? And as an aside, I don't know if any of you guys are from Michigan or the Detroit area, but 760, that reminds me of 760 WJR, the AM radio station out of Detroit that I used to listen to with my dad as a kid growing up. J.P. McCarthy was the DJ. I'm probably dating myself. He died back in 1995. But all of my childhood, my dad was born in Michigan in the Detroit area, and I grew up in Northwest Ohio. So pretty much all my life listening to AM radio, Tigers baseball on the radio, and J.P. McCarthy's radio show. So anyway, that just kind of reminded me of that. No, that was kind of funny. But again, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Hope you have a great Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe, and we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.